Hey everybody, I'm Steve Lowell, and I'm here with John Heney, who is one of the most interesting guys on the planet. And what we're going to do today is we're going to help John with his positioning statement. And we're going to do this in real time so that you can see what it takes to bring a positioning statement out into the open so that you can use it anytime, anywhere when you're out there networking. How are you, John?
Good to see you. Thank you very much for having me.
Oh, listen, it's going to be a hoot. So, John, you're at a networking event and somebody comes to you and says, what do you do? What's your answer?
What I tell people is I play with energy, comedy, writing, and other modalities to help them improve the way that they operate so that they can become a better person and give us a better world.
Okay, so that's a pretty unique position that you've got there. So what I'm going to do, if it's okay with you, John, I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions. And what we're going to try and come up with is something that you can say every single time, which I think you can say that every single time. But what we're going to do is come up with something that people can take with them and repeat to others, so that people think of you when they're out there in the world.
Yes.
Okay? All right, so let me ask you a couple of questions. Why would I come and see you? What's happening in my life that would cause me to come to you and say, John, I need help?
When I meet people, when I get emails, when I get phone calls, it's absolutely fascinating because everybody on the globe is in a particular circumstance. And a lot of the times what's happening is people say, I'm stuck, or I can't get over this, or I have a problem in my life, or I have a challenge I can't to get through, or I've been trying to do this for years. And I've been around the block, talked to all kinds of people, and nothing's working, and people keep telling me about you, so here I am.
Okay, so what kind of, you say people are stuck and they can't get past things, what kinds of things are going on in their life where they're stuck or they can't get past?
They may have a personal illness. They may have a grief they can't get over. They may be scared of public speaking. They may be having difficulty finding a job. But also, what's really fascinating is with some people, they may have some abilities, some awarenesses that are blossoming. Their dreams are literally changing. Their intuition is rising. They're having trouble relating in public because they feel overwhelmed by the energy in society. And what do they do with that too?
Okay. So if I could put that into one sentence, it would be something like this, and you tell me if this is accurate. Okay. It's not going to be all-encompassing with everybody you work with, but tell me if this is accurate. You work with people who are struggling through some kind of an illness or some kind of a blockage in their life, and they can't really seem to get where they want to go, and maybe it's because they're having a difficult time coping. Does that sound about right?
In one aspect, yes.
Okay. So here's the thing about a positioning statement, and I hear this all the time, is, I do a whole lot more than that. Okay? And I get that. The issue when you're out there networking, and I see this all the time with people, is they want to become everything to everybody all the time. And so they try and speak everything that they do into one sentence so that they don't miss anything.
Yes.
So what we need to do is we need to pick a lane.
Okay.
And when you're out there doing networking, when you get really good at this, you'll have many lanes, and you'll be able to choose your lane on the fly depending on who you're speaking with.
Yeah.
So right now, let's pick a lane. Okay? So let's pick people who are, sometimes people have an illness or they have some sort of a challenge in their life that they can't seem to get past, and they're really feeling stuck. Does that sound like somebody that would come to you? Okay. So what we do at the beginning of the positioning statement is we paint a picture in the person's mind of the problem that we solve. And there's two components to it. It needs to be visual, it needs to be emotional. Because when you're speaking to me, I want to be able to see the problem in my mind. Does this make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay. So can you give me in one sentence? Now, I offered you some words. You're welcome to them, or you can use your own. But give me in one sentence something that's visual and emotional that is going to make me think of people in my life that need your help.
Do you know anybody in your life who has a real challenge and they're completely stuck in it, but inside they really have abilities to help themselves get through it?
Okay.
I show them how to do that.
Okay, so now that's a little bit more visual and more emotional. Somebody in your life who has a lot of challenges and they feel really stuck, but they know inside themselves they've got the ability to get through it.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you got somebody you can see, and I got somebody I can see, and somebody I can feel their pain.
Okay.
That's point number one.
Okay.
Now, point number two is this is where you need to put another picture in my mind of you solving the problem for that person. So here's the question I have for you. If I came to you and I said, John, I got all these issues, and I'm just feeling stuck, and but I know I have what it takes to get past all this and move on with my life. I just can't move on. What happens between you and I? Walk me down the path and create for me a visual of what occurs.
We chat about the challenge.
Okay, can I interrupt?
Yes.
Are we one-on-one, face-to-face, or on the phone, or on Skype, or is this in a webinar? Is this in a
We're on the phone, or we're one-on-one.
Okay, so we're face-to-face or on the phone.
Yes.
Okay.
And I talk about the challenge, but I also talk about the universality of most people's challenges.
Okay, what does that mean?
It means you're not the only person with cancer. You're not the only person looking for a job. You're not the only person suffering from stage fright.
Okay, so when you do that, how does that help me?
It repositions you in the same circumstance.
Okay.
Most people are trying to push their circumstance away. I have to get past something. I have to get rid of something. They're splitting their energy. They're basically fighting their circumstance.
Okay, so when you do that for me, how does that make me feel?
It relaxes people, and I move them into service.
Okay, so if I'm getting this right, you're going to sit down with me one-on-one or on the phone, and you're going to help me really feel relaxed by making me feel like I'm not the only one with this issue. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so now you've got me feeling relaxed, like I'm not the only one in the whole world with this issue. Then what happens?
And then we talk about, as I say, service, which has evolved into a part of my practice. Because when people are in service, they shift their energy. They've got a bigger purpose. They've got a bigger focus. They've got a longer horizon.
So what does that mean in service?
It means that you find yourself now in the marketplace connected with people.
As opposed to
being isolated and squished and feeling by yourself.
Okay, so if I get this right, you're going to sit down with me one-on-one or over the phone. You're going to really make me feel a whole lot more comfortable because you're going to help me understand that I'm not the only one in this situation. And you're going to help me see myself as being in a position of service to others rather than being isolated and all by myself.
Yes.
Is that what's going to happen?
Yes.
Okay, so now you get me to that point. So I feel like now I'm comfortable. Wow, I'm not the only one with this issue, and I really think now I can be of service to people. Then what happens?
Then we talk about a bit about their background and some of their abilities, some of their observations, and in turning people's perspective as to how they dance, with people in society. It's like thinking of, for example, I often use the term becoming the person you'd love to meet.
Okay.
And so as they're out there, let's say looking for a job, it's more thinking about the people they're going to meet and the managers they're going to meet. It's not just winning the interview. It's it might not be the manager who gets me the job, but it might be the manager's next door neighbor.
So what are you doing to me, or helping me? How am I changing to put myself in that position?
Opening up to the perspective that we're so linked as a society, and there's so much interplay among people that you become a relaxed person. You bring relaxation into your exchanges. You relieve the people around you. They remember you. And you're open to more interconnection, as I say. You might go to an interview, and when you're relaxed and open, it's like saying, I really want a job, and I don't really care how it's manifested for me. So you can be going to see one manager, and you walk in, and you're polite to the receptionist.
Okay.
And she knows everybody in the company.
So is this about them being open to receiving? Is that what it's about?
It's probably beyond that. It's not, for them to be open to receiving, there's a bit of dependence upon them.
Okay.
Right?
Okay, so what I'm trying to do is we need to make this very simple so that people can understand what you do when you speak to them, and not only understand it, but they can go out there and repeat it.
Yes.
So let me ask you if I'm close on this.
Okay.
There are some people who just really feel really stuck in their life. They're faced with challenges or health issues, and they can't seem to get past it, but they know they have what it takes to get where they want to go in life. So what you do is you sit down with them one-on-one. You help them feel really relaxed and comfortable in the fact that they're not the only one facing these issues. And in fact, you help them take a mindset of that they can actually be of service to people rather than feel isolated. And that allows them to go out there and relate to people better, be open to people, and be open to the opportunities that come by. Is that what you do?
Yes, that is one thing that
Okay, so why didn't you just say that? Okay, now, so the question is,
Yes.
and that's one thing, and I understand it's one lane,
Yes.
and you're a man of many, many lanes. So the challenge is to create one of these for every single lane,
Yes.
right? But what happens now when you pick a lane and you make it this simple, people will understand. So what happened in theory is when I leave the room and I see somebody in my life who's stuck and who's got challenges and health issues and can't get past them, but I know they've got potential, you're the one I'm going to think of, because I know you're going to sit down with them one-on-one or over the phone. You're going to make them feel real comfortable in the fact that they're not the only one with these challenges, and you're going to help them take a mindset of service instead of isolation, which is going to help them relate to people and receive their opportunities. Is this working for you?
Yes.
Okay, so the question now is, can you give that back to me using either my words or yours in 15 seconds? This is why it gets tough right here, because what will happen is, and this happens every time, is you're going to plug in the big words. You're going to try and make it bigger than it really needs to be, because that's normal. And then when you go out there and use it in the world, it's going to feel awkward. It's going to feel mechanical. It's just going to feel wrong. And that's the part you got to get past, because that's the part that makes it who you are instead of what you say. So understanding that right now is just what you say. Can you give it back to me in very simple kindergarten visual and emotional terms so that I can repeat it?
One of the things I do is I help people reframe their place in life so that they can move through the marketplace in service to other people and therefore become more open to their own opportunities.
Okay, so here's what you've done, is you've made it flowery so that I'm not going to be able to see it. So here's the formula. I'm going to pick on you. Are we okay with film on this one? Okay, I'm going to pick on you a little bit, okay? Here's the first challenge. The first challenge is to put a picture in my mind of the problem that you solve. So paint for me a picture in my mind in one sentence, or 2 sentences max, of the problem that you solve by telling me somebody who's got it. So here's an example. Sometimes I meet these people who they're just stuck. They've got an emotional issue, or they've got a physical illness, and they just can't seem to get past it, but they know they've got the potential to get where they want to go. That's the kind of message we need. I know I'm putting you on the spot, and
No,
this is on film, so it's going to be the toughest time you'll ever have to do this.
This is good. I meet people all the time who feel completely isolated in life, and they don't have the power or believe that they have the power to move forward past their problem.
Oh, see? Now that's beautiful. It's visual, it's emotional, I can see it, and it's simple. Okay, so now the next step is you paint a visual in my mind of you solving the problem. And this is where I sit down with them one-on-one or over the phone to help them feel comfortable in knowing that they're not the only ones facing these challenges. And then I really help them to feel like they're in a space of service instead of isolation. That's the message that we want in 1 sentence. Go ahead.
Many people who I meet feel completely isolated in life, and I help them change their perspective so they can get out there and enjoy what goes on in life, so they can be open to their opportunities.
Okay, here's the challenge now.
Yes.
Is it okay if I interrupt you?
I understand.
Here's the challenge. I help them change their perspective. Okay? That is, I call that process-driven language.
Yes.
I can't see it. So what I can see is I can see you sitting down with them one-on-one or over the phone.
Yes.
That I can see.
Yes.
And I ask them a ton of questions and I help them feel safe. That I can see.
Yes.
Okay? Change their perspective to me is too high level, I can't see it.
Okay.
So we need to bring it down to something that's visual and emotional. Okay? So give me the basic fundamental premise. Walk me down the path of what it is that you actually do with these people.
Whenever I meet somebody, I treat them as unique because I believe everybody on the planet is simultaneously unique and universal. This tends to relax people and give them a new space to open up to their possibilities.
Okay.
In that framework, we start to have fun, and we start to look at their contributions and abilities and their potential.
Okay, so I'm going to interrupt you again.
Yes.
We're going over here again.
Okay.
So here's what I see. Okay, and then we're gonna wrap this up and we'll work on this offline if you want. But here's what I see for you. If somebody comes up and says, John, what do you do? If it were me, if I were in your shoes, this is kind of the way I would say it. Because remember, I want it visual, emotional, repeatable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So I would say, I meet so many people who are just feeling stuck. They've got a physical challenge or an emotional challenge or some kind of an issue, and they just can't seem to get past it. Okay? And they know they've got the potential to get where they want to go. So what I do is I sit down with them one-on-one. I ask them a ton of questions, and I really help them feel that they are, I really help them feel comfortable because they're not the only ones facing these issues. And then I help them actually feel that they can be in a place of service rather than isolation to people. And when we do that, it really opens up their perspective. They can relate to people better, they're open to opportunities better, and that really helps them get past the issues that they're facing. Is that what you do?
Yes.
That's what you got to say.
Okay.
Okay? That's simple because now I can repeat it, I can see it, I can feel it.
Mhm.
So we'll work on that together so that the next time you're out there in a networking setting and somebody asks you what you do, you've got beautiful words that they can take with them for the rest of their lives. It's been a real privilege.
Thank you very
Thanks
much.
for dropping by.
Okay.